Welcome one more day to Space and Harmony. If you can listen with attention, you'll hear the singing of a capercaillie bird, which is more famous in other parts, especially Scotland, but we have capercaillies in Spain as well, as you can hear. And as you can see, I have decided to film in the outside again. We are allowed to have walks at certain points of the day, and this is a perfect place to connect with our deeper levels of reality. And precisely today I'm going to talk about the divine connection with our I amness. We can establish very definite grounds or levels, and this is very important because many people are still confused about how to connect with themselves, with true reality. So let's go step by step, starting with the body. Then we move inwards to conscience and experience even what divine spirit might mean. So let's simply start paying attention to the colors. Look how vibrant are the greens and purples. Now in spring the flowers and plants have grown a lot. This is usually dry completely in winter and summer, but look all the life that is sprouting all over. The birds are singing with joy, and we have to notice this aliveness in our body or ourselves. We feel more alive when we are surrounded by vitality and when we experience this vitality within ourselves. Look at these strange flowers. I had never seen them. I discovered them a few days ago, and they would be a perfect model for universes. Look how they all sprout from a center, and then we have those beautiful round structures. The yellow is very vibrant. It's a beautiful plant. But let's see what else can we experience. There you have my shadow. We also have shadows, and it's okay to have shadows, but do not think we have to integrate them. Some people think we have to integrate our shadows. The shadows dissolve. We cannot integrate what is contrary to our true divine luminous nature. We have many impulses within that have to disappear. For instance, stress, agitation, hatred. All that has to go away. Allow that to dissolve by paying attention, by being aware of the vitality in the body. Sometimes the shadows appear back again because the sun is behind. We also have an inner sun, don't forget about that. And the light that we have inside has to shine through our 5 physical senses, so our 5 spiritual senses can also grow. We have more senses than we are told. In total, I think we would have 13. Later on you'll see where the others come from. But keep feeling that vitality in your body, paying attention to the breath, especially breathing through the nose. That's a proper natural way of breathing. Noticing the moments of rest after each inhalation and exhalations. And let the breath become longer in the exhalations, and also allow the stillness of the out-breath to remain longer. Obviously don't force, breathe naturally. The body should find its own natural state of breathing, and we are not simply breathing air, we are breathing in substances coming from the sun, the planets, even the moon, and all that is absorbed by a body which is in calm. If we are agitated, we cannot absorb any vital nutrient. Impressions are also nutrients. We must become aware of the nuances of life, our experiences, not only with the physical senses, but with the spiritual senses, because we have consciousness. Consciousness is not the five senses. It's a spiritual perception which can include all the senses at once and move beyond that. And as we use the awareness consciously, we can notice how we feel calm emotions. And there are actually many nuances in the emotions as well. So we have to become aware of the different types of calm within ourselves. There are degrees of tranquility, which are actually a fruit of a spirit. But leaving that for later, we have to notice the divine action behind everything we feel. And now I want you to notice that within this action of awareness, we can identify two polarities, opposites, which are feminine and masculine. The calm emotions, serenity, tranquility, are feminine aspects. I don't know if you saw the hare. It was resting. The poor animal got scared. But anyway, notice how the emotions are feminine, but there is also a masculine side, which is the attention, the mental aspect, which can unite with the emotions and then expand the whole movement of awareness. Unfortunately, our perception is usually fragmented because we have been trained to use the thoughts too much. We think too much and we don't pay attention to the nuances of awareness. And this is why we need to bring together the masculine and the feminine within ourselves. The man and the woman, as they used to be called in myths and legends. Actually, this has to do with the story of Adam and Eve. Adam was split into man and woman, and the woman was hijacked by the energy of the serpent, which are the lower passions triggered by the tree of knowledge of good and bad, which are physical bodies and certain ways of perceiving reality, which are not really ours. They belong to another type of reality developed by fallen architects. But we have been given the ability to reestablish the man and woman within ourselves, so we can experience a whole body of awareness, the tree of life, which is the true way of perceiving reality. And in ancient times, this was known as the son of Adam. And it's interesting to notice that when we bring perception to a holistic state, then we also find the regulation of the nervous system. There are two systems within ourselves. One is the parasympathetic nervous system and another the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is in charge of the fight or flight response. which is what puts our body in a state of alert, but also stress. And then the adrenal glands liberate cortisol and adrenaline, which are very acidic. They are acidic hormones, and in excess they can make the body very acidic. This is why stress contributes to the acidification of the organism, and this can generate problems because acid breaks up tissues, inner organs, and the acidic condition of the body increases, obviously, in situations of stress. All the noises that we make with technology, and also with food. We eat acidic foods, especially wrong combinations, such as animal fats, starches, and many other types of foods which are not natural, but we got used to them, and we have generated an acidic and mucus environment which is contributing to the stress of the body, the disharmonization of the immune system, and therefore the emergence of problems such as the autoimmune diseases, which are all over. They are pandemic, so to say. Even the pandemic that we are experiencing right now with this strange virus is not something new. There have been similar viruses which are affecting us because the immune system is saturated. Even many doctors are saying that the problem is not the virus itself, but the viral load. This is why many doctors are getting affected by it. Unfortunately, the powers that be are poisoning us on purpose with foods and chemtrails, and also promoting the misinformation concerning this sort of viruses, which are becoming popular especially because of publicity. If authorities told the truth, very few people would get really sick. But the health organizations are not interested in the health. And there we have one more reason to eat little, because the excess of food also increases the excess of toxicity. Frugal eating is also a way of helping the body to get rid of toxicity. And that obviously increases our vitality and therefore the healing properties of life within ourselves. By fortune, we can regulate the sympathetic nervous system and different organs in the body, making use of the awareness. We have the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the system in charge of the rest and digest response, which calms down the organism, regulates the functions, harmonizing all the nerves of the solar plexus, the emotional plexus, whose nodes look very much like this fascinating structure, and it helps the body to digest and heal itself. Interestingly, the parasympathetic nervous system depends on the so-called vagus nerve, which goes along the chest area, the abdomen. And in the chest we also find a very important gland, which is the thymus gland. It generates very important substances, but the thymus is related to what the Greeks called THYMUS, which is the force of life, the vital force. And this vital force, which we feel in the solar plexus and the chest, on a physiological level has healing effects, but it also helps us find the first ground of I amness in ourselves. The emotional force is the reconciliation of body and mind, and this helps us feel that we are alive. And from there we can listen to the voice of conscience. And the voice of conscience is speaking to us constantly, is our head, our divine head. We are the divine body, the Son of Man, or the Son of Adam, as it used to be called. The translation Son of Man is a bit confusing sometimes, because people think it excludes the feminine, but the Son of Man includes the feminine sensitivity. So do not be deceived by those translations. The Son of Man is the body of the divine head, which is the conscience that speaks within ourselves. The Son of God. Another confusing expression, but leaving these confusions aside, when we listen to the voice of conscience, then we can establish a conscious relationship and dialogue with this inner dimension, which is beyond space and time. And the communication with conscience is very quick and very alive. Conscience tells us what to do, who we are, where we come from. It helps us make quick decisions, and all without doubting. We are sure about what we are told inwardly. But realize the communication with conscience is not by means of reasoning dialogues or sounding words, as the words I'm using right now. It's more an awareness, a listening, where there are intuitions. And actually we can establish conversations by means of intuitions. But we have to be very quiet inside. We have to listen and be sure that we are not alone, that there is a divine presence within us. And we are the support. Without us, divine work cannot be done, because we are the contact with this world. Divine conscience cannot access this world without a physical body. Therefore we play a divine role in this manifestation, which is fallen. Plants die, animals die, everything dies because this got disconnected. But it has a portion of life which is trapped. And actually we can feel the aliveness in the songs of the birds, the beauty of the colors. All that comes from the tree of life. But as I say, it got disconnected. And by becoming aware of it, we allow it to go back to the tree of life, which is growing within ourselves. Do not forget that. A new living body is growing within ourselves. And that's where the conscience comes from. And conscience tells us about the presence of something else, which is not the awareness, the consciousness, as I call it before. Is not conscience either, but a force that is really behind life. This invisible force used to be called spirit, is personal, is not impersonal. We can call it will, because it's closer to our language today. And this force can be felt even in existence, in the song of the birds, in the colors, in the profound serenity in these moments of the morning. It's still very early, 8:15. This force is behind everything, and it really moves us when we allow divine movement in ourselves, when we listen to conscience. And remember, there was a very beautiful teaching by Master Yahoshua. He said, a spirit is like the wind. We hear its sound, but we don't know where it comes from and where it goes. And that's basically the force which leads us to where we have to be. Obviously when we are connected, because there are dark forces, dark spirits, which also want to lead us where they want us to go. They want to lead us into the ditch, into their trap, so they can feed on ourselves. But we should distinguish between evil spirits and the divine spirit, which is keeping us alive, guiding our movements. It can lead us to meet someone, to listen to something. This spirit also guides us in dreams, visions at night. I've had several experiences in which I was led by a force which moved me as from my back, and it led me to see certain episodes and certain aspects of existence which took me many years to begin to understand. I don't understand everything yet, and this makes me feel accompanied. I'm not alone. I am guided by deeper aspects of myself, my true divine self, which is an expression of the Infinite One. And keep in mind the levels that we have seen. We have been feeling the vitality in the body. That is an aspect of the I amness. We have been feeling the voice of conscience. And finally, we also felt the spirit, the will, which guides us in a more dynamic way. And these three are basically the divine image, which is acting within ourselves. As we are more and more guided by these qualities, we also become more and more the divine image, the true image, which is the primordial man, the Adam Kadmon, as it is known in Hebrew. And that's basically what Yeshua, manifested on earth. This is why he said, if you have seen me, you have seen the Father. He was the son of the primordial man because he manifested the image which is contained in the infinite light. But obviously this divine image has to manifest, and the manifestation of that image is what humanity must be. And that's what Yahoshua manifested, even though he was not his carnal, fleshy body, which he left behind. He had a light body, which was really containing all the aspects, the conscience and the full connection with the spirit, the will. This is why he was able to manifest miracles that we barely can understand. But obviously we are called to grow in the same way, with our light body, our conscience, our full will. And we can also say with him, I and the Father are one. He also said, you in me and I in the Father, because he is the full image, and somehow we are called to be expressed from that image because we are contained already in the image. Our true self is contained in the image, and we have to manifest it through our human personalities. And the Infinite Holy One would be the head of that divine image, which is the manifested body, the primordial man, something very few have been able to manifest fully on earth. As far as we know, Yeshua was the only one that manifested that image completely. But it doesn't mean we cannot manifest the divine image, at least to some degree. And for the moment, thank you very much for listening with attention. I hope you enjoyed the walk with the colors, the sounds of the birds, everything around. I wish you could smell the combination of smells that I'm perceiving right now. It's flowers, pine tree, really nice. And leave comments and questions if you wish. That helps to promote the channel. If you subscribe and want to receive notifications, click on the bell Notice that the videos are published in English and Spanish, and I usually publish the videos in Spanish first, so it takes 1 or 2 days until the video in English comes. And until the next day, let's keep feeling the will, the spirit that opens a space to the unconditional love where the pure life grows, where we can listen to the silent conscience, which is the master within, leading us to a state of rest, serenity, and pure blissfulness.